Wisconsin. I'm really excited to be back here with Scott and with Tonette. I got a great text this morning from my daughter Sarah, who's now a freshman at Notre Dame. I make it a habit to kind of text her in the morning as to where I'm going to be because it's sometimes hard to keep up. So I said to her, "Wheels down in Wisconsin." I texted her, and she texted me back. She's like, "Oh, wow. Tell Scott and Tonette and the boys I said hello." So that's the way our families are. We've known each other now for 4 years. We spent a lot of time together. Not just me and Scott, but myself and Mary Pat and Andrew and Sarah and Patrick and Bridget have spent time with the Walkers and their personal friends. And so this election is not only really important to me as chairman of the Republican Governors Association, wanting to re-elect our Republican governors and elect new ones, but I will tell you that this one is personal. This one is personal to me. Scott has done the things that a good governor needs to do. He's made the hard decision. Now, I know you all know that, and I know that because you're here today, I'm preaching to the converted. I know that. You already love Scott Walker and love his leadership and love the things that he's done for Wisconsin, and you should, because Wisconsin's a much better state today than it was 4 years ago. And the real question is, do you want Wisconsin to keep going forward, or do you want Wisconsin to go backwards?
Right.
Forwards. And there's no doubt about that. And believe me, the good thing about this election is it's a really clear choice. You know, I've been involved in some elections around the country where our Democratic opponents, they try to act like they're really Republican light. You know, they try to move towards the middle and they try to hide the fact that they're liberals. The wonderful thing about Mary Burke is she's a liberal, you know it. And you know that the policies that Mary Burke will pursue are Jim Doyle's policies. And we know what that did to this state, losing 133,000 jobs and setting Wisconsin backwards, putting it at the bottom of the pack in the Midwest. And now with Scott, you're at the top of the pack in the Midwest because he's made the hard decisions that need to be made. And let me say one other thing about Scott's opponent, because he's much too much of a gentleman to say it, so I will. You know, the fact of the matter is that it's okay if we disagree with her ideas. That's what elections are about, to disagree with ideas. And people put forward their ideas. Scott put forward his ideas, and then the voters get to decide. See, but we don't know if they really are Mary Burke's ideas, do we? Because her whole campaign has been surrounding this economic jobs plan of hers. And wait, what do we find out? It's not hers. It's not hers. She said she learned all this at Harvard Business School. Well, I didn't go to Harvard Business School, but I'll tell you this. I don't think they were teaching plagiarism at Harvard Business School. I don't think they were teaching to cut and paste other people's work and call it your own. And here's the problem with that. The problem with that is this. If you can't trust her honesty and her integrity when she tells you that this is her plan, why would you trust her honesty and integrity on anything else she tells you about what she'll do for Wisconsin or about Scott's record? You shouldn't trust any of it. Now, Scott and I have had similar governorships. We inherited really beat-up states, and we've had to make really hard decisions. Decisions that other politicians who came before us were unwilling to make. And when you make hard decisions, some people disagree with you and some people even get angry. But I will tell you that I love somebody who's willing to stand up and be counted and say, this is where I stand, this is the ground I stand on, and I'm digging my heels in and I'm letting people know this is where I want to be. That's what he's done for 4 years. Not the easy decisions, but the tough ones. And the fact is now, you are the ones who are going to decide this election. And I don't mean by your vote. We know we have your vote or you wouldn't be standing here today. It's how hard are you willing to work to get other like-minded people out. Now, you've been through this. You all worked hard in 2010, and that's why he won. And then when the big government unions tried to come into this state and take this state over in 2012 with an unprecedented, nasty, bitter, angry recall, you all stood up and said, no, thank you. The people of Wisconsin will decide who our governor is, not the big government union bosses from Washington, D.C. Well, one last test, everybody. One last test, because they're testing you this time, too. And what they want to do is make an example of him to other governors around the country who want to do tough things that put the taxpayers first. They want to show other politicians, don't do what Scott Walker did, because if you do, we're going to punish you the same way. Well, I think Wisconsin's got this moment now, this moment to send a message to the whole country that we want brave politicians, we want courageous politicians, we want ones who are willing to speak their mind and stand up and do what they say they were going to do. Well, you've got that chance. And it's going to be up to you to work hard to get our voters out to the polls. You know how Scott will work. You've seen him work for 4 years. You know how hard he'll work. He needs you. And so I'm going to introduce to you right now one of those brave, courageous politicians who does the things that he says he'll do and stands up for you, for the people of Wisconsin, because he loves this state and he wants to be your governor for another 4 years. My friend, Governor Scott Walker.
Thanks. Let's hear it for Governor Christie. As Chris mentioned, Chris and Mary Pat are great friends with Tonette and I, and let's hear it for the First Lady of Wisconsin. Tonette's here as well. Our kids are friends. We were just talking before about how Chris and Mary Pat got 2 of their kids in college. We have both Matt and Alex in college. They've still got 2 more left in school as well at home. But we just have a ton of fun with them. We had a great time with last year at the National Governors Association. In fact, their youngest, all 4 of the kids came early before Chris and Mary Pat, and they came to Miller Park, and we showed off the park to them. The youngest even got to go down the Bernie Brewer slide. And she told Chris that night, and he told me the next morning at breakfast, that she said, hey, I got to go on the field and play catch and do batting practice. I got to go down Bernie Brewer slide. I got to eat ballpark food free all night, or all over the place. And she said, Dad, Governor Walker throws much better parties than you do. So then, to show he's a good dad, what did we do? We set him up. He went to the Wisconsin State Fair and took the kids on all the good rides and got some cream puffs too. So they loved it, and the fair people loved him as well. But Chris has been a great friend to folks all across the country. But personally, to me, he was here in 10. He was back again in 2012. He's back here again with us. He's been a great leader in New Jersey. He's been a great leader for the RGA. He's just a great guy all the way around. So thank you for coming here to the great state of Wisconsin. And it's great to be back here in this part of the state. And so the TV media recognizes I'm actually here a lot. It took Chris to have people come and pay attention to the fact that I'm here a lot. But as you all know, because I've been right on this stage many a time, and whether it's been here, a couple of weeks ago I was with Sean Duffy here in Hudson. I was just up the way the day after in Richmond in my heartland. I'm here a lot because this is an important part of the state. Even though sometimes people think that the east side of the St. Croix is in Minnesota, it's not. We know it's in the great state of Wisconsin, and we know there's a big difference. And we want to make sure we continue to move the state in the right direction. Now, it's funny. Chris talked about having campaigned here a few times. Tonette and I sometimes in the campaign trail have to remind ourselves that this November is our first re-election. Right? It's our 3rd election in 4 years, but it's our first re-election.